Hi, it's Dr. Dina, and it's May 30th, 2025. So we're going to talk about chlorine dioxide in this video, and you won't need any of these precautions. Okay, when we made chlorine dioxide a few years ago, I don't know, 2021, 2022, we had to make it from scratch. So we had to use chemicals like hydrochloric acid, and we had to use the raw crystals of sodium chloride. But today, we don't need any of these things because you can buy it now. You can buy the 26% sodium chloride, and you can buy the 4% hydrochloric acid already prepared. So years ago, like I said, we had to dilute the hydrochloric acid. So when I bought this one, it is 30% or 31%. So we had to dilute it to the 4%. And then we had to mix up the crystals, the white crystals, with distilled water in order to get a 25% product. But now, we don't have to do this. You don't have to be a chemist. You don't have to blow up your kitchen or put a hole in your sock. It's, you can buy it from Amazon, from the website, from a water purification website. This one is allonewellnessnow.com, but I know realraw.com also sells water purifiers, water purification products, and I'll put in the article. The blog article is called Oxygen Obesity and Ocean's Oxygen Obesity and Chlorine Dioxide. And at the bottom of that article, there's resources. So you'll have resources where you can download Dr. Kalker's book, and I talk a little bit about that in the video that we're gonna do. You'll see resources of links where you can click on this and buy it. You'll also see links to the recipe that was given to me by Genesis Church, and thank you to my friend Wolf and to Genesis Church, who really put chlorine dioxide on the map with a product called MMS that Jim Humble coined. But you'll find all that in the bottom of the article. So before you send me any messages, asking any questions, if you could read it, it might be in there. So I'm doing this video in response to something that I posted this morning. First off, I'd just like to say thank you to my dad, who allowed me to share his pictures and who allowed me to share his story so that you might benefit from it. It's my experiment, so this is in response to those questions this morning about chlorine dioxide. So the before and after pictures were the moles. Now, Dad does have lipoma on his back, and lipomas, for those of you who don't know, are just kind of an accumulation of fat cells. It's a benign mass, let's say, that's been there for years. So that wasn't really what I was drawing attention to, but I should have, clarified that a little more. But it was the moles on his back. So my dad's 80 plus, and he went to a dermatologist, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, and the dermatologist said, no, there's nothing I could do. I can't take these moles off unless I skin your whole back, because he had these dark moles all over his back. And moles are just a collection of melanocytes, which are cells that produce melanin. And of course, they can overgrow, and we know that there's, moles that you have to be worried about. You look at the ABCs, right? The alignment and the color and the borders to determine if the mole could be cancerous. But they were benign. So the dermatologist had suggested, but that he couldn't do anything about it. So I said, Dad, well, let me try. I know when my parents are looking at this video and they're saying, what is she doing now? Mom's like, she's got my apron on. She's got her father's glasses on. Oh my gosh. But anyway, Dad, thank you. Thank you for trusting me first to allow me to experiment with you with the chlorine dioxide, and also for allowing me to share your story, because I think some other people may benefit from what we're going to talk about. So what is chlorine dioxide? It's chlorine, a chloride ion with 2 oxygen attached. So the therapeutic effect comes from it having an oxygenation process. So it's not bleach. So sodium hypochlorite is bleach. Sodium chlorite has 2 oxygens attached to it, which makes it reactive. And I don't know if I can do that equation for you, but maybe I should. Let's see, it's probably going to be backwards, but I think you'll be able to see it, because this was something that, when Wolf first introduced it to me, I was like, oh, show me the chemistry. How does it work? So sodium chlorite is Na, sodium, going to be backwards, and ClO2, okay, chlorite, and then HCl is an acid. Okay, this is the new way of activating it, let's say, with HCl. HCl is the acids in your stomach. We're using 4% here. The acid in your stomach is 2. We're using 4%, but the acid in your stomach is a pH of 2. So it's, it's not going to hurt you in this. Now, when you get it at the hardware store at the 31%, that could burn, but we're not using that anymore, right? Because they already have it mixed up for you. So it's sodium chlorite and the HCl, which is the activator. And then what happens in that reaction is that it breaks down and you get ClO2, which is chlorine dioxide, like 2 oxygens. The sodium binds with the Cl, okay, sodium here with the Cl, to form NaCl, which is salt, table salt, and the other byproduct is water. Okay, so you're going to get chlorine, Cl, and it's going to have 2 oxygen attached, okay, and then NaCl, which is salt, and then H2O, which is water. So the benefit of this is that there's no byproducts other than salt and water when you mix these things up. So, and it used to be a little hairy, when I first learned about this, 2020, from my friend Wolverick. Thank you so much, Wolverick. We did a BitChute video, which is also in that article, that the healthtruth.blog article. And you'll see the video that we did where we're actually, have our glasses on and we're mixing it up. But now it's already prepared for you. And that Christmas, I gave my best friends the chlorine dioxide. Everybody in my family had chlorine dioxide, and nobody used it because they were like, if you mix it up in your kitchen, Dina, I don't think I'm going to use it. But now it's catching on. Now my family members, almost every family member, and many of my friends are using it with great results. So here I am again, 5 years later, doing a similar video. But now this time, we have the products that you can get yourself. You don't have to go through the whole chemistry thing. You just have to pick these up, mix them together, and that makes chlorine dioxide. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about the contraindications to it. Thank you for being here. If anyone has any questions or comments or testimonials, I will take a look at the end of the video, but I'm going to try to stay focused and keep this video at a reasonable length. So Dr. Kalker is probably the world's most, he's most well-researched in chlorine dioxide solution. So I highly recommend this book or his new book called Achieved Health. And that article will send you to a website where you can download his books. You can't buy these books in Canada. I don't think you can buy them in the US either. Amazon doesn't carry them. So you have to either buy them from the website, but it cost me more. I think I bought 4 books, or no, I think I bought 5 or 6, because he has different books, like Bye Bye COVID is another book that he sells. That was really good. But you can buy them from the website, but it cost me more to ship them from Switzerland than it did for the books. So what I'd advise you to do, and what I highly, highly recommend, before you take something that someone else is recommending, do your own research, right? Read about it so you understand what it is. And that book you can have available for you as a PDF. I don't know, it's $10 or something to download it. You can download it tonight and you can start reading what I'm about to read to you now. Oh, thank you, Dan, for posting that. So Dan just posted the equation. So that's sodium chloride plus the hydrochloric acid equals chlorine dioxide, so the chlorine with 2 oxygen, NaCl, which is salt, and H2O. Thank you so much for posting that. So Dr. Kalker's book, he starts off by saying it's a useful guide for those of you who are thinking about chlorine dioxide or any other yet to be approved substances. So that's why you can't go to the health food store and pick it off the shelf, because the FDA hasn't approved it. So the FDA has just approved bioweapons for our population that killed more Americans than the 2 world war combined, but they haven't approved this. Donald Trump tried to talk about this, chlorine dioxide, and then, the media gave him a big blast about, recommending bleach. But this will tell you how important it is, not only for now, for taking moles off your back, but we'll talk about other implications as far as kind of next pandemics that they're going to be rolling out and why this should be a part of your first aid kit. But in Dr. Kalker's book, he says, this is a guide, really, for anyone who's interested in chlorine dioxide or other yet to be approved substances. He talks about turpentine in here, for example, and some other things, to avoid errors or misuse. So we list the precautions and warnings as well as the research in the field from volunteers who have used it for treatment. So health is a fundamental right, and everyone should be able to decide how to best preserve it. So the abbreviations, just in chapter 1, you can see there's a whole list of abbreviations. So he wants you to know the difference between sodium chlorite, right, and sodium hypochlorite, which is bleach. Because as soon as you give this to someone and they smell the chlorine, they're going to say, "This is bleach." And you'll say, "No, it's not. Actually, bleach only has 1 oxygen, but this has 2. That's why it's so reactive and can react with the hydrochloric acid in an oxygenation process to heal your body." You'll have the equation that you can show them. So I have a few friends, and somebody commented even on this post, and they said, "Well, I follow so-and-so said," well, don't follow anyone is my advice. Read the research. And this is what I love about Dr. Kalker. He's a biophysicist. He has PhDs and degrees. And he says, don't follow me. Read the information and know it for yourself. So there's probably a lot of people out there recommending, different health products and not giving you the contraindications. It's important to know them. So again, another plug for his book, where you'll get all the information, any of his books. So there was something else I wanted to, Jim Humble, let's go back. In 1996, a man named Jim Humble was traveling through the jungles of Africa, and 4 of his mates came down with malaria. So he's in the middle of the jungle. They don't have any medicines. The only thing he has in his backpack, because they're mining for gold, is a water purifier. Now, this is not new. Anyone's in the military, my dad knew this. I think this is why he consented to the experiment. If you're in the military, you have sodium chloride tablets. So if you're out in the bush, you drop one of those tablets in the water, you drink it, it purifies the water. So this is all he had as he's out in the bush, and so he gives a double dose of this to the mates that have malaria. And within 4 hours, these guys are out of their tents, feeling great, ready to go to work. In 4 hours. Not 4 days, not 4 weeks, 4 hours. So Jim Humble goes on, and in Dr. Kalker's book, he talks about this, goes on to do experiments with the Red Cross. So the Red Cross sponsored experiments, you can't find it on the internet now, by the way. It's all wiped out. But they did 18 activated drops, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. For adults, 8 activated drops for those who are malaria positive for children, and 2 activated drops for babies, with 100% recovery. Most of the people responded within 24 hours. 11 cases out of 150, I think, but 11 cases took 48 hours. But everyone was healed of malaria. Everyone. Now, why don't you know that information? Well, just because the Red Cross wiped it out. Why? Because malaria drugs and malaria vaccines are big business. This is probably why Bishop Max, who showed me how to make this in a Zoom, disappeared suddenly, and why Mark Grennan, who's another man that has written about this and was friends with Jim Humble, sat in a jail cell, I don't know if he's still in jail, in Florida for years because he was recommending it. So I'm a little shy to sort of suggest that you use it, and I'm actually not suggesting you use it. I'm just sharing the experiment I did with my dad. So yeah, the book is amazing, and it will give you a lot of information, and it will show you, pictures where you can see the actual documents of the research that they did. So it's an oxygenation process, meaning it's like, somebody asked the question in that post about molecular oxygen, it's like molecular oxygen because that chloride ion forms, makes more salt, and the oxygen are liberated, right, to pick up things. So it's a process like hydrogen peroxide, only it's 2.5 times better than hydrogen peroxide. It's better than bromine. It's better than ozone therapy. Everybody's talking about ozone therapy. Well, chlorine dioxide actually takes 4 to 5 electrons off that outer shell. And I'll post a oxygen capacity chart that compares chlorine dioxide to some of the article on healthtruth.blog. I think I put it in there. It compares the chlorine dioxide to these other things that are already familiar to you, like hydrogen peroxide and ozone. So it's an oxygenation process. It smells like chlorine because it has the chloride ion in it, but it is not. I repeat, it's not bleach. But when people question you on it, you have to know enough to say, no, it's not. And explain it to them or not. So where do I want to go here? Let's try making it. So the website again, allonewellness.now. I don't get any kickbacks for promoting them. There's other websites. If you go on Amazon, it's listed as a water purifier, and it has been a water purifier for 200 years. If only we could use this healthy thing now in our water instead of chlorine and fluoride, which are neurotoxic. If we could use this in our water, not only would it clear the waters outside, it clears the waters in you. So it's the best anti-parasitic, antifungal, antibacterial. There is some research to show it does oxidize metals. I don't know that there's any research to show that it oxidizes metals in you, like with the nanotechnology and that sort of thing. That would be an interesting experiment, I think. But surely it's, so instead of taking ivermectin, which is, an antiparasitic drug that is laced with nanotechnology, right? They took it off the shelf initially because it was so good. They put it back on with a new formula. So, I have to get a kick out of the people posting the ivermectin things, right? It's like, okay, if we can't get the nanotech into you in the shot, maybe we'll give it to you in ivermectin. But this, right, there's many different antiparasitics. Wormwood is a great antiparasitic. There's Paragon is a good antiparasitic. There's this New Roots has a product called Candida Stop that has wormwood and caprylic acid and garlic and grapefruit and oregano and an echinacea and podarco and black walnut and selenium, and it has a lot of things. So if you're wanting to do an antiparasitic, look at some of the natural alternatives, right? Let's not support the same pharmaceutical companies that gave you the bioweapon. Okay, enough about that. So allinonewellness.now. So first I'm going to put in the sodium chlorite, okay? And this is 25%. You have to activate it to make the chlorine dioxide, right? So we're going to put these two things together. So I'll equal drops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. okay? When I say 10 activated drops, it means 10 drops of each. So in the recipe that I made up for my dad, it was 20 activated drops in 2 ounces of distilled water. And now I'm going to put in 10 drops of the hydrochloric acid solution, and this is hydrochloric acid at 4%. alloneWellnessnow.com. So 10 drops of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so because they're equal drops, they will react, and you'll see the reactions happening right there. Okay, see how it's turning that amber color? So when you have the amber color, you know now you have chlorine dioxide. Okay, so that takes about, 20 seconds to 30 seconds to activate. So right there now you have your chlorine dioxide. You drink it. No, just kidding. You don't do a shot. This right now, you shouldn't smell it, right? It's too strong. So you want to mix it with distilled water. Why distilled water? Who's taking it? Bobby, do you know why distilled water? Because if you use your tap water, it's going to use up all the goodness, let's say, the oxygenation process, clearing your tap water. So it's not going to hurt. It's just it'll be less powerful, right? It'll be less potent in your body. So by mixing it with distilled water, you know it's not going to react. And then when you ingest it, you can, it'll clean out any bacteria, parasites, fungus. And I've done this for 5 years. It's my first thing that I reach for if I'm feeling a little under the weather, or if my Genius scans show I have bacteria or fungus or parasite or something. It's the first thing that I reach for. I use it, I drink it, and if I drink it, I'll do 3 activated drops in, a cup of water. But again, Jim Humble's experiments, right? If you have malaria, you might want to take the 18 activated drops. Or, if you're a small kid, you might want to take 2 activated drops. But the beauty of this book is that you have all the protocols. You have the protocols for everything. And there are some people that will have a secondary reaction with the chlorine dioxide in their stomach. So some people will feel a little nauseous. So there's another product you can make, and here's a picture of how to make it. You take the activated, chlorine dioxide that you just seen with me, and you put it in a bath of water. So the chlorine dioxide, it doesn't mix, right? It's like a double boiler. And the gas comes out of solution and into the bath that it's into the surrounding water. That's called CDS, or chlorine dioxide solution. So if somebody is a little sensitive in taking it, they may not want to, they may want to make the CDS, and the book will show you how to make that. So, I don't know. Let's see what he says for skin rash. What the combination. So Dr. Kalker, so the protocol CDS, did they have a protocol for this? I should have checked his protocols. 15 drops 3 times a day. He followed treatments for 2 months, 15 drops 3 times a day. Now he's using CDS with milder side effects. So I interviewed Dr. Kalker. I was so grateful that he came and talked to me because I do consider him the authority researcher on this. And he said, the spray is great for if you have a bacterial infection, or if the cat scratches you, was the example he gave me. If the cat scratches you, you could use it, but I don't know that he says, I don't know that it has a therapeutic effect on the skin. And I said, well, I know it does because of my dad's back. And you'll see the before and after pictures. So, anyway, there's all these different examples from leukemia, testimonials, right? Fungus, fibromyalgia, erectile dysfunction, diarrhea, diabetes, dengue fever, dementia, dandruff, cutaneous leishmaniasis, these pictures of parasites, right? In Africa and in different places. Parasites here, autoimmune diseases, atopic dermatitis, arterial sclerosis. I mean, and I'm just halfway through the book, right? I'm just at protocol J, which protocol I for insect bites, mouthwash, I don't know, I mean, it just goes on and on and on, right? So the book will give you contraindications. It will help you understand the chemistry, how to explain it to somebody that you may be wanting to share it with, like your family, because I didn't do a very good job with that, obviously, because people come back to me now and say, do you know you can make a spray with chlorine dioxide? Do you know it's great for this and that? And I think, oh my gosh, maybe I didn't explain it properly or explain myself. So maybe if you get the book and read it yourself, it'll have more meaning to you, you know, instead of me telling you about it, what to do. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna mix up 3 and 3 for myself. So you can see me take it so you'll know it's safe while I'm telling you about my dad. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and chlorine dioxide solution takes about 24 hours to make because you have to wait for it to dissolve. 1, 2, 3. You have to wait for it to dissolve out into the gas into solution. But I have some in my fridge. And I always keep this in my fridge, the chlorine dioxide solution. And if I have somebody that comes over and they're not feeling well, I give them a liter to take home. Some of my visitors that I see. But this looks like this. Okay, so this is chlorine dioxide dissolved in solution. And this lasts for a few months in the fridge. So if you want to make up a batch of that, right, then you can have it to drink every day. The benefit is that there's no secondary reaction with the acid in your stomach. So some people find that it's easier to take. Okay, but you have to keep it in the fridge because it has to stay less than 10 degrees or the gas comes out of solution. But this is another application, let's say, of the chlorine dioxide. But right now, if you just want to get your products online and you want to mix up 20 activated drops is what I put in the spray that I use with my dad. Okay, so 20 activated drops, 20 of one, 20 of the other, wait until it turns that amber color, pour it in the bottle, and then put in 2 ounces of distilled water. And this I spray my vegetables with. I spray my fruit, I spray my face. After I come from my Pilates and yoga class, I'll spray my hands, you know, as a disinfectant. You know, I carry it in my purse, I have it in my car, I have it in my cupboard, I have it next to the bathroom counter in my bathroom, because once I've seen the results with my dad's back, I'm like, that's an oxygen mask. I'm gonna be spraying it on my face. I'm gonna see, you know, that might take away some of the, you know, wrinkles and bumps and lumps on my face, because it's just elemental oxygen, right? So I have it next to my counter in my bathroom too. So everywhere you go, my family can attest to it, Dina and her chlorine dioxide. So I just made up 3 activated drops here. Okay, I'm gonna put some distilled water. This is reverse osmosis water, but you can buy distilled water or if you have a distiller. And then when it's dissolved, I'll just give it a minute for the bubbles to come down so you can see it. You can't take it around food, or you shouldn't take it around food. Why? Because it will use up the power in the food, you know, oxygenating the food instead of the parasites or bacteria that you have in you. So best taken on empty stomach. So when I'm doing chlorine dioxide, I might mix up a liter, the chlorine dioxide solution, and then I will take it a glass. First thing when I get up in the morning, go get my shower, come back, have another glass. Then I have my breakfast, and then, you know, wait and maybe take some with me to have after, and then while I'm making supper, I'll take another glass, and then I'll have a glass before I, you know, 2 hours after I eat, and then another glass before I go to bed. Because it's elemental oxygen, it only lasts in your system for about 10 to 20 minutes. So you need a repeat application, because if you're dealing with a parasite or a bacteria or a cancer or, you know, some of the more serious diseases, you can't take one shot of oxygen and expect it to like disappear, right? You have to kind of keep consistent with it. So when I asked Dr. Kalker that question on the video, which I'll attach to here, he said, you wouldn't take one breath in the morning, would you, Dina? Like, and expect it to last you the whole day. And I said, no. And he said, well, this is like breathing. This is liquid oxygen. So this is what it looks like now, the 3 drops in distilled water. You can put it in a full cup if you want, but I'm just gonna do it like that. So it tastes like pool water. You know, it's not the best taste, but I've tasted a lot worse. Yeah, so you shouldn't have it around food. I don't know where I was going to go with that. Oh, I know. So you can't, if you take one large dose. Now, Jim Humble in the forest, they were just starting with this, so they just did 1 dose. So 1 dose healed 80%. 2 doses healed everybody in the study of malaria. But when you're about to die with malaria, I remember reading in one of Jim Humble's publications through Genesis Church, which again, like I said, put this on the map. So I want to say a special shout out to Genesis Church, to Bishop Max, who's passed on, to Wolf, who showed me how to make it, and also to Mark Grennan, who sat in jail for, you know, believing and sharing these ideas. People were dying. So in Jim Humble's publication, he said, if the baby threw up after you gave him the chlorine dioxide, they knew the baby was going to live. Why? Because they were getting rid of the parasites, right? So if you're about to die, you know, 18 activated drops is a lot, but you know, you got to weigh out the pros and cons, and nobody's recommending it. Even Dr. Kalker is just giving you examples and testimonials and for different conditions, hundreds of conditions where people have healed themselves using this water purifier of many different conditions, because it's elemental oxygen. What's not healed in the presence of oxygen? And the benefit of that is that you don't damage the surrounding tissue. So even with peroxide, it will char the cell membrane of some tissue. But the chlorine dioxide, because it has a low oxygenation factor, a low oxidative, it's a low oxidator, let's say, it doesn't react right away. It's a weak oxidizer, that's what I was looking for. Hard word, weak. It's a weak oxidizer, so it actually goes intracellularly, unlike any of the other oxidizers, because the peroxide stops at the cell membrane. So think about the implications for this now when we have intercellular issues after these injections. And the spike protein that's, you know, turned on by the injection, where your body is producing it intracellularly. So the shot actually turns your body against itself intracellularly. So this is the only oxidizer that can go inside your cells. So again, like I said, the application for this is vast. And not only, I mean, that post, I really didn't think it would get a lot of attention. It was just my dad. I showed him a picture, and I had complaints. I was like, oh, the lighting's bad. Maybe you changed the lighting, whatever. I mean, the first picture I took was a couple of years ago when I first started seeing Dad regularly when he moved to the city. And the other picture was taken today. You know, my phone has changed, right? It was a different environment. You know, it wasn't meant to be a clinical picture or, you know, a special photography session. It was like, Dad, do you want to see the difference in your back? And he was like, yeah, I wish I could see them. This is what he said. So I showed him the picture. I often give him updates, right? Because I do some healing work with them and do some little chores around. But I only see him once a week. So this was the application, spraying his whole back like this, right? His whole back, anywhere, especially I've seen like a darker mole, I would like give it a little extra spray and just waiting for it to dry. So 20 activated drops in 2 ounces of distilled water once a week. Imagine, right? I've had other family members to remove their moles, 3-4 weeks, gone, because they're doing daily application. Or like I said, because it uses up that oxygen, right? Within 20 minutes, you could do another shot, whether you're taking a spray or you're taking a drink. You know, you could take it every 30 minutes to have a maximum effect. But this is only spraying once a week because he can't spray it himself and I only see him once a week. But those are the results, right? So again, I apologize for my photography. It wasn't really meant to be like a big promotional thing. It was just kind of like me showing Dad the before and after picture of what, because he can't see his own back, right? And then I thought, oh, you know, some other people might benefit from it. So you can believe it or not. But the other part of the picture was that Dad has a lipoma, right, on his back. So you'll see that lipoma, and that is, like I said, a benign, almost like a benign cyst of fat tissue. Somebody asked, why do you get it? Well, they don't know really. If you Google it, it will say genetics, but they're accumulation of fat cells. So, you know, my intuition tells me that there's probably some sort of a disruption in fat metabolism, either in the liver or gallbladder, and maybe those particular individuals are genetically more predisposed to having lipomas, but they're really common. They don't cause any harm. The harm that I've seen over the years is when people have them removed out of tricky places like neck, and the surgery actually damages, you know, the cutaneous nerves or spinal nerve roots or things, right? So sometimes trying to remove something that the body has put in place as a protection mechanism is probably not the wisest thing. But I have a feeling that it has to do with fat metabolism, but I'm still researching that one. But that's, I think, why they occur. And even with moles, right? It's a collection of melanocytes which produce melanin, and melanin protects us against radiation. So Dr. Jack Cruz, neurosurgeon, he talks about being in the sun and how it's important for protecting us against the EMF radiation. Right, the 5G technologies, the Wi-Fi, the cellular frequencies. And what does mainstream tell you to do? Stay out of the sun, put sunglasses on, put your cancer-causing sunscreen on to protect your skin. So I think moles, and in Dad's case, I think that's actually some sort of a protective mechanism. And he's fair and light, so maybe he had a lot of sun exposure, and that was the body's way of protecting them against too much radiation. Anyway, I don't know. These are just theories. I'm just throwing out my theories. I don't have anything to back that with. It's just, I think that when we see something in nature and something that respecting the wisdom of the body, we have to go with it, you know, instead of fighting against it. So Andres Moritz talks a lot about that in his books about cancer, for example, is that cancer is really the body's response to stress. That reminds me, there is a documentary that I just finished, and it's called Remedy. Ooh, Ancient Medicine for Modern Illness. Remedy. If you scroll down past the back pictures, the moly pictures, the holy moly pictures, then you will see that link to Remedy. And that is an amazing documentary where they talk about healing your body with herbs for modern illness, right? Because many of our pharmaceuticals were first made from, right, or mimicked from our herbs. So only pharmaceutical companies, you know, twisted it, chemically changed things so it has side effects, and then they also put a price tag on it and sold you your health. So if you can go back and understand where it all came from, you know, trace back the money, trace the money back, and then say, oh, okay, they made that from feverfew, right? Aspirin and Tylenol and pain relievers actually came from a tree bark. Wow, and I can treat myself and heal myself? I don't have to pay for that? Yeah, that's what happens when you empower yourself. You can know that your body is a divine, healing, self-regulating machine when you give it the things it needs in order to function properly. So Remedy, Ancient medicine for a modern illness. I'd highly recommend that documentary. But again, if your body is doing it, there has to be a reason. And if we can look for that and ask ourselves the reason for that, we can support the process instead of trying to remove it, irradiate it, chemically treat it, whatever it is. There was something else I was going to say with that, the implications for treating. So I make up the CDS, I take this now, so I'll do 10 milliliters of this in a liter of water, distilled water, and then that will be my tonic for the day if I'm under the weather, or sometimes I will just do it if I feel a little sluggish. And this makes a difference in my Genius scans, biofeedback scans, even with one dose, you'll see a difference. But taking it repetitively is important because it uses up, right, the oxygenation capacity quickly. So you'll need to keep doing it. But I also drink it. I have it in a spray. I made eye drops with it. I've seen my vision improve. There's the recipes in Dr. Kalker's book. Again, it's a bit tricky, right, recommending these things because I don't want to be perceived as I'm, treating without a license or recommending some sort of a, chemical that's not approved by the government. So know that I'm just really showing you this water purifier and some of the applications and experiments that I do. I also put it in an enema. So when I did Andre Klacker's gallbladder and liver flush, which I'd highly recommend, hundreds of stones came out of my gallbladder. I just can't, I guess I still can't believe it. And if you scroll down, type in gallbladder and you'll scroll down, see another video I did. I won't go into details with that, but I was using coffee and enema and Gersten therapy, and many people talk about coffee, but coffee doesn't remove stones and it doesn't really remove parasites, right? It stimulates the liver, glutathione, and can, give you a bowel movement, but it doesn't really kill anything, right? Or let's say balance. It doesn't balance. I don't like the word kill. In a recent article, I wrote about that, how if our intention is to kill something without understanding why it's there, sometimes that backfires. And what I've learned recently about the parasites is that parasites are only present when there's garbage around, right? Rats are in a dump for a reason. They eat up the garbage. So, destroying your parasites without realizing why you might have leaky gut syndrome, for example, or changing your diet because, parasites thrive on sugars and carbohydrates, it's not going to be a long-term solution. So, but this chlorine dioxide was when I did this in the enema was when I seen worms come out in the toilet. I posted a picture of that too. So in an enema, I use 10 activated drops. In a douche, maybe 6 activated drops in a liter of water. Distilled, body temperature, warm water if you're using an enema or a douche. And there's an article on my Substack. I'll post one of the Substack articles, but there's an article about enemas. There's articles about chlorine dioxide. I give you the Substack for Dr. Kalker. If you go to my Substack, who's written and who I think is the biggest researcher right now and has the most literature where you can find more information. Also, Dr. Pierre Corey, thank goodness, yay, a real medical doctor, is writing about chlorine dioxide. And he's written, I don't know, maybe 3-4 articles. Every time he writes an article, I repost it and restack it so you can see his research. So I think, now that there's more and more people jumping on board, it's not as scary. More people are interested and willing to give it a try. So Dr. Kalker admits in his book, when someone sent him the chlorine dioxide first, he said he took one smell and he goes, I'm not taking that. That's chlorine in that. I'm not drinking it. He said, I'm going to give it to the dog because his dog apparently was palliative. His dog was ready to die. He was having to carry his dog out to the backyard to have a bowel movement because he couldn't walk. So he puts activated drops in the dog's water that night after supper. And the next morning he gets up, the dog's walking around, he opens the door, the dog runs out in the backyard. 1 dose. I don't know what the activated drops were. I can't remember if he said that in his book, but he said, if that can help the dog in one dose, I'm going to try it. And that started his research. And then going back and talking to Jim Humble and understanding what Jim Humble, because this is it, right? We have to go back and see what worked and then evaluate and see how we can make it better. So he has pictures of him talking to Jim Humble in his book and, you know, putting it all together. But he even admits that, you know, he wasn't sure of it first. So if you're not sure of it, give it to someone who's, you know, give it to a pet who's really ill and see what happens. I don't know what the dosage is for pets, but I do have a friend who had a sick goat who I shared this information and shared this information with, let's say. And she said, Dina, do you think I could give it to the goat? The goat, if the person is listening and wants to share that information, you know, go ahead. I have a feeling she probably won't. But her goat was sick. She said, do you think I could give it to the goat? I was like, I don't see why not. It's elemental oxygen. It's safe for babies, for plants, for, you know, it's just oxygen, basically. And I said, if it was me, I'd probably try just a standard low dose, say 3 and 3 in a small amount of water. And after, I don't know how many hours, it was a day, and she said, the goat's not drinking. And I said, well, they're not getting the chlorine dioxide. Is there any way you could like give it to her in a syringe or something? So she started, you know, giving the goat got better. I don't know, like in a day or two. I don't know exactly, but so, you know, like I said, the applications are vast. So the last thing I think I want to say, and then I'll check the messages and comments, is birds don't get the flu. Birds don't get the flu. If our birds are sick, ostriches, chickens, birds, any bird is sick, it's because they've either been injected with something that's made them sick or they've been fed something that's made them sick. Nature's smart. Animals are smart. I posted a picture of a crow for that reason. If crows are sick, do you know that they will find an anthill and they will get in the anthill, they will spread out their wings and they will let the ants crawl through their feathers. Why? Maybe a similar reason why ants, you know, are helpful for your peonies to open up. But the ants release formic acid, and that kills any parasites, bacteria, and that heals them. Crows get up, fly away. Thank you, ants, for that service. Ants also, right, eat the peony so the peony can. So if you're spraying chemicals trying to get your ants away, know that they're helpful. But this is what birds do. They know how to heal themselves. When I was telling my dad that story, he was telling me that, you know, dogs, when dogs are sick, dogs in Newfoundland, where we grew up, that were roaming free, would go and lie in the bog. Why? Same thing, right? There's fumic acid, right, in the bog that would probably take away the... So animals know. My dog, God rest his little soul, I loved him so much. But when he was sick, I caught him one day. You know how dogs will eat grass in order to, you know, get rid of any toxins. But he was also chewing on the burnt piece of wood in the fireplace. I was like, So before I I always look at things, instead of like trying to discipline him, I always think, he's smarter than me. I should just kind of try to see why that's happening, right? Instead of like trying to take away the parasites or take away the tumor or take away the whatever. See, why is the body doing this? So I look at him and I think, why is he chewing on a burnt piece of wood? Any ideas? Activated charcoal, right? This is what we take. If we're poisoned, we take activated charcoal. The dog already knew it. Now, granted, if I were to throw him a piece of organic popcorn from Costco, he spits it out, right? If he spits it out, that's when I stopped eating popcorn from Costco. I was like, if the dog doesn't eat it, you know, I'm not going to eat it. But my point in these kind of funny but true stories is that nature knows best. When man starts to interfere with the sickness of birds and tries to kill off things, problems arise. like the COVID injections, like the ostriches in BC, when man puts his hand into something and thinks that he's greater than what our great spirit and what nature is, problems arise. So for you, going into yourself, and if you have a health issue right now, asking yourself why it's there. Sometimes it could be emotional. Sometimes it's a health issue because of lifestyle. Dame Donahue says, you can't medicate yourself out of a problem you've behaved your way into. So if you're 50 pounds overweight, your blood pressure's gonna be high. Just saying, right? Because your heart has to work hard to push that blood all around your body. If you inflammation, chronic inflammation in your joints, and arthritis, inflammation in your tendons, tendonitis, inflammation in your lungs, right? Asthma, emphysema, inflammation around your heart, carditis, anything with itis is inflammation. Maybe your diet is high in inflammatory foods, like say dairy and wheat. So asking yourself, instead of trying to get rid of things, I think asking yourself why it's there would be helpful as we move forward. Now, the World Health Organization has just signed, apparently, this pandemic treaty last week. So likely there's going to be another rollout of a fake pandemic like they did before, right? Yes, it was fake. They planned it in advance. Event 201, I did another video about that. Scroll down and you can see it's called World Health Organization pandemic or something. Happy Pandemic Day, I think I called it, or I don't know. It's down the Facebook page, so go read about that. Because there's going to be other money-making scams out there, and this is what it is, right? Bill Gates made billions of dollars, and whoever manages him, he's the biggest funder of the World Health Organization, 88% of contributions. So who lost money? Look at who gained money in the pandemic, and you'll see, right, who the players are, right? The big box stores didn't lose any money, that's for sure, especially Amazon. So the implications for this are not just now, right? I don't know. Somehow Dad's pictures stimulated interest, so I'm going with it. But again, it's not a new concept. I've been talking about it for a long time, not just in relation to skin, but in relation to what it will do for your body, what oxygen does for your body, and the importance of having repeat applications and in different ways. So if you're a person that has a prostate issue, for example, or prostate cancer, or interstitial cystitis, or bladder, then you need to be taking it. Again, I'll post Dr. Kalker's video onto this one, but you really need to be taking it in an enema in order to get the oxygen to that part of your body. Because if you're just drinking it, right, you get to the stomach, maybe the duodenum, but then, you've used up all the goodness. So, getting it into your body, the lower end, from a douche or an enema or even a bath. In a bath, you would use 50 activated drops. Again, be careful not to breathe it, right, when it's activated, but 50 activated drops. Okay, last story I'll tell you is I seen a video of chlorine dioxide where it was blown in as a gas, and this was a restaurant that had mold, black mold, and they sealed up the area. There was even mold on clothes in the closet. They sealed up the area, blew in chlorine dioxide gas for 24 hours, went in, all the black mold was gone. Now, we can't do that, but just to show, well, I guess some people could, but just to show you the power, right, in chlorine dioxide for mold and fungus and parasites and many things. But I guess the visual from the picture this morning is really, helped open people's eyes to maybe the therapeutic effect and the possibilities in that. So, and again, that was 20 activated drops, right, in 2 ounces of distilled water, and it was applied once a week. One treatment once a week, and we've seen that improvements. So I can tell you that, within a month, if you're spraying daily, a sore, a mole, it can't hurt. you don't want to spray it at this concentration in your eyes, right? And it, you know, because of the chlorine in it, it may stain your clothing at this, not stain, but it might take color out of things if you use it in this concentration directly on your clothes. But I've been spraying it on my face and, you know, for 5 years, and I haven't known that to be an issue. Okay. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for all your comments on the photos further down. Maybe I'll link that post to this one, and just so you can have that visual. I'll also put the article and the interview with Dr. Kalker that we did, so you can see the man live himself. He's a lovely, lovely man and continues to do research. He also has an institute that I'm a part of. I haven't really made it to a lot of the Zooms, only one. So there's many other applications with DMSO and other ways that you can, let's say, facilitate the effectiveness, but I really haven't made that a priority. But if you love this and you're having success with it and you want to go further with it, but don't take your advice from like Joe Blow, who's, you know, like me. Don't take advice from me. Don't take advice from somebody who's making it up in their kitchen. Go to like the researcher who has the publications, you know, and read the book and, you know, join his research. Just know that this is, you know, my own, I don't know, this is what I use, 20 activated drops in 2 ounces from my experiment with my dad. And this is what I use on my face. I don't know if the person you follow or if Dr. Kalker would even, when I mentioned this to Dr. Kalker, he said, I would only recommend it for an infection like a cat scratch or something. But so I'm even giving a different application than what he's giving, but that's how we grow, right? We all add our own little bit onto that, and that's what I'd share. So let's see if there's any questions or comments. I'll scroll back and see what we have here. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of people commenting. Thank you, Sylvan. Thank you, Frida and Jack. Thank you, Ina, for the healing modalities. Yeah, thank you. And I learned it from someone else, so I'm thanking people that have shared it with me, and Jim Humble, who started it, and Wolf, Wolverick, who's my friend, and Bishop Max. Thank you, Amy. A black walnut husk, yes, for anti-parasitic or wormwood. What were some of the other ones that I had said in here? Garlic. The remedy, the documentary that I watched, they talk about the benefits of garlic and ashwagandha for from everything from like sexual dysfunction to cancers to anxiety to sleep. You know, one herb, ashwagandha, and the benefits of garlic, right? We've known for centuries. We need to get back to understanding those benefits. But yeah, wormwood and black walnut husk and selenium and podarco and suma and grapefruit seed extract and oregano. This is just one supplement that I happen to like and take sometimes. But I also have, you know, a lot of things in my cupboard. But I have to say, this is my go-to now, okay? The chlorine dioxide. So thank you, Amy. Bobby, cousin Bobby, thank you. You've been using it and using distilled water. Thank you for doing that for yourself. How many times per day? So I think I answered that, Susie, that depending on the condition and how you're treating, right, your application will determine how many drops you use, how you want to treat it. Like I said, prostate, you might need an enema. If you're having, you know, something in your lungs, maybe you can take it directly. If it's a skin issue, maybe you're doing it. Dr. Kalker made a good point, though. I got to go back to it. You'll see our video anyway, maybe if you watch it. But he said, you know, most skin conditions are a presentation of an internal problem, right? It's not just in the skin. So he said he always recommends taking it by mouth and only using the spray when there's a skin infection. But I disagree. And I've seen the proof in otherwise. So Lori says, is there anyone else having Dina cutting in and out? I'm missing some of what she's saying. Okay, thank you, Lori. I often have. I don't know if this will stay up, this video, so I will download it and post it to the Rumble channel and the BitChute channel. I'm always like dodging bullets Dan says, no, our video's coming through for you. Okay, thank you. Okay, these were way back in the beginning, so I'll just scroll through quickly unless there's, okay, so nature does know best, says Amy, yes. And the other thing is like breastfeeding, right? Okay, I have to share this last story with you. Okay, then I'm good to go because it's an hour. Because it'll help you put into perspective. Go back and look at the pandemic video that I did, because I won't go into all that history. But the bird flu, H5N1, that they, rolling out as one of the pandemics. I don't know if that one will fly, because I think people caught on to the scam early enough. But when they rolled out the H1N1, anyone remember that, H1N1? And that was in 2009. I was in clinical practice then as a chiropractor. And I watched so many women lining up at community centers. I still get a little emotional about this. But because it was hard to see that. Because women were always told, right, that you're carrying a child, a developing fetus. When I was pregnant, I wouldn't even take anything, aspirin, or, well, I don't take aspirin anyway, but, women generally wouldn't even be recommended an aspirin or a Tylenol or a drink, an alcoholic drink. We were so careful. So it broke my heart to see all these women lining up at the community center, pregnant with their babies, giving them the H1N1 shot. And then what happened? Well, after H1N1, then we've seen it. An increase in fetal mortality 4,000%. So if you're thinking, oh, COVID's the new thing. No, COVID's just the same playbook of what we've seen before. So nature knows best. Don't trust in a pharmaceutical company that makes money from your ignorance is the bottom line. So when they roll out the bird flu, just know that, it's another scam. And now you have, this is not only for you, this is for your birds too. Okay, you can make up a solution. I have a friend who has a small farm and she uses this. So I don't know how many activated drops she uses. She probably uses something like 20 in a couple of liters of water, and she sprays down the chicken coop, right? Because it's an antibacterial, antiparasitic, but it's safe. It actually helps keep them healthy. Even if you put a little drop right in water and left it out for the chickens. I think they drink, right? You wouldn't be able, I don't know. There's all different applications, let's say, but when the bird flu, when they're trying to scare you about ostriches, know that, those ostriches might have been injected with something and that the PCR test is bullshit. So know that you have a solution. And Donald Trump said this. He said, this is the solution to any pandemic that they will throw at you. Anything that they will call a virus that's never been identified on a microscope. I think it's often kind of bacteria that they cook up in the lab, like Lyme disease, right? Lyme, Connecticut, that bacteria, that cyclic spirochete bacteria that they made in the lab and they put in ticks. There's a protocol for this. Chlorine dioxide, Dr. Kalker's book has a protocol for that because it's a bacteria. So no matter what they're gonna throw at you, H1N1, H56, 007, whatever number or disease or thing that they're gonna try to scare you with, nature knows best. That's a good way to finish. Trust in nature. And when you see something happening in your body, something growing, ask yourself why that's there, instead of just trying to remove it without seeing the application of it. Cancer is there because your immune system's not healthy. Taking out taking out the tumor and irradiating your body with radiation and giving yourself chemicals is really not going to strengthen your immune system. So, okay, I go on and on about this because I feel passionately about it. I got the H1N1 shot after I gave birth. Yeah. Even the H1N1 shot, what I'd seen in my clinical practice, I was going to get into that, thank you, Amy, was that I'd seen numbness and paralysis. So people come to the chiropractor, right, when they have numbness in their arm or pain in their neck. Always it was on the side where there was the injection, where they'd have the neurological symptoms, and some of my patients at that time were hospitalized. So they were fine, went and got the shot, and they were hospitalized. after that H1N1 shot. So just know that there's many pandemics out there. Now you have one solution, not the solution, but this is my go-to, elemental oxygen. But nothing, also clean diet without the chemicals, clean water, clean mind, right? Your mind and your thoughts are really what's controlling your reality. So if you're in fear, that's how they manipulate and control you. Take this shot or you're gonna die. Well, no, you're making money from that. So you're gonna tell me that, right? Clear, clean mind. My body has divine health from my nose to my toes. I'm healthy, vibrant, youthful, magnetic. My body has the power to heal and has the power to heal itself if I trust in that divine wisdom. This is the things that I feed my body, and it might be helpful if you do too. So feed your body with great ideas, with healing foods, foods that are high in photogenic capacity, clean water, and community, right? Love and service also improves your health. No shots whatsoever for me. I'm clean, all good. Thank you, said Lori. Thank you. I want to comment on that. If you have been intimate with someone who's had the shot, you now have likely that nanotechnology in your body. If you have exchanged body fluids with someone, you may be also not immune. We're seeing that the blood of injected and non-injected now is looking very similar, but as Tony Pantelleresco pointed out to me this week, it's the genetic structure, right? Because it was a gene experiment. It's the genetic structure and intracellular investigations that really can give you more information, which is why I think that something like an oxygenation process that goes intracellularly can help with that spike protein production that your body has been now wired to produce. So water purifier used for 200 years purifies the water outside, so it purifies the water in you. And if you want more information, check down by the side of this video. I'll have articles and links. Please go through them because I've studied this for 5 years, and I've done 3 articles, I think, and shared some of the research and did videos. So it would be helpful if you looked at the resources first, and then if you have a question, you can ask me. I won't be giving out medical advice. After I do a video like this, someone emails me and says, my mother has, or I have, what? I can't give you that advice. I'll go to jail. But I'm giving you the next best thing, okay? I'm giving you the book where you can see how other people managed it. And don't trust anybody other than yourself and trying it yourself. So don't follow anyone, follow yourself. You weren't born to follow, you were born to lead. Your words are read about health from my toes to my nose. It's stated every morning. Your words. Thank you. Yeah, I have like a little mantra that I wrote on my journal, and so because sometimes I don't want to forget anything. Like my hormones are in balance, the gases are in perfect balance. My physical body, my mental body is clear and balanced, and everything is creating optimal health. For me to give my service out to the world. So I have a little thing that I wrote down. That addresses all this that I say to myself every day. So yeah, I program in divine health by what I say and what I think to myself. And that creates a layer or a vibration or a protection that helps protect you. But if you're flicking through and all you see is how bad the world is and who's in the wars and who's dying and what bird flu and what I don't know, what Prince Charles is saying. Oh my God. If you're flipping through things that, let's say, pull down your vibration, you're leaving yourself open to sickness. So what you feed yourself and the environments you put yourself in determines your health and your vibrations. So yeah, what you say to yourself, and I do say that to myself almost every day. So thank you so much for being here. I'll post the links. Please do read through. Then if you have any questions after you read the information, after you download the PDF and start looking through Dr. Kalker's book, then if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer from my perspective, not really to give you advice. Although if you have, I do a Genius Biofeedback and I do wellness astrology. So I do consults and I do have, I consult with some friends and family. So those links are available for you. But Dr. Kalker, if you have a serious condition that you're looking to have a medical person follow you, there's a series of doctors who are not Canadian. So, they're outside of that umbrella that can also coach you. You pay a fee and they can help you. So know there's help available, but you have to educate yourself first. So these are all the resources, the recipes, the applications, the whys, because there's another pandemic always in the pipes, and then you'll have something to help yourself. So I love you. I love you, and thank you for for being part of this presentation and being part of my world. To go out there and reach for the stars. That essence in the stars is in you. You have a divine coherence. Once you can tune into it, reach for the stars, envision, and then achieve. So you think yourself well, but in order to achieve it, you have to put the action steps in place in order to achieve it. The exercise, the clean diet, the clean thoughts. So reach for the stars, envision and achieve your best, and most of all, enjoy the journey. That raises your vibration to a divine place. I love you too, Lori. Thank you. I love you. Good night.